sorry, so I say goodbye. Talking about your neighbors and your friends, saying what is right with you, wrong with them. I wonder what you say about me, just a second that I leave. I'm tired of saying sorry.
Welcome everybody to Picks and Bones. I'm your host, Eric, bringing you the best in Americana red dirt, black dirt, red clay, Carolina clay, which is important, which my guests tonight definitely fit into several of those categories. These guys are the Honky Tonk Demons from Greenville, South Carolina, the Golden Lancers. Welcome on the show, guys.
Man, I hate to start you off with a correction, but we're actually from Greer, South Carolina now.
Well,
close. We are Greer boys.
Yeah. We're Greenville, Greer, Spartanburg, upstate. Yeah, we call it all home.
We do appreciate you having us, man. It's really good to be on with you for sure.
No, I'm glad to have you guys. And, I've kind of been keeping tabs and listening to some, along the way. And you guys got a very unique sound. And you guys are really, you're kind of sticking to old school. So speaking of that, why don't you guys kind of just tell everybody, now that we've corrected where you're from, why don't you just kind of tell everybody about who the Golden Lancers are, who all the members are, and, where you feel like you fit into the musical spectrum, and kind of what you guys have been having going on.
Sure. I'm Randal. Sometimes I play pedal steel. Sometimes I play drums. Sometimes I play bass. Sometimes I play guitar in the band. And who's this guy next to me?
I'm David. I do some singing and I play a little guitar. And we kind of got together. I'd say about a year and a half ago now.
Yeah,
we've been trying to get into things and at our own pace because it's been kind of a whirlwind in some ways. We Randall's, as far as you talked about our sound sticking old school. A lot of that's been Randall's brainchild. He's done a real good job as far as using our studio time and everything to kind of get a unique sound. And we wanted to stick to the.
Are we there? I think it froze for a second.
Yeah, we froze for a second.
Okay.
Randall's brainchild.
Yeah, I was going to say that Randall, as far as the recording and everything, a lot of that's been his ideas and everything as far as giving us that old school honky tonk sound. And we've been trying to work on that. We've been playing around the area as much as possible. We hadn't been hitting it really hard. We've been trying to get our name out there and kind of work ourselves in there. But yeah, as far as the recording stuff, this guy here has done an awesome job with kind of giving us a unique sound.
Yeah, me and David connected, I guess about a little over a year ago. We actually went to high school together. We were in the same marching band at a couple points together. Mm-hmm. But we reconnected after high school. We've been out of high school well over a decade or so, and just kind of found out we'd both grown in the same direction, liking just old school 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s country. And there's a few people doing that kind of that real gritty honky tonk sound lately, but we wanted to hop on board and kind of put our unique twist on it and just really have fun playing. We didn't want to play boring stuff. We just wanted to play some kind of ripping riffs and fun stuff.
Well, I think you guys are really putting the nail on the head, really, because with your sound, just from everything I've heard of you guys and listened to, you guys are paying total homage and respect to the music itself. And, I've had this discussion with a lot of different musicians and, all over the country. And there's very few people that are showing that respect and, doing it right by sticking with that old school tradition or helping bring it back. Because honky tonks is alive and well, but very few people do it right. And you guys are doing a hell of a job doing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
From the listenership and a musicianship's, side of things, I really appreciate what you guys are doing with this. And you've got my utmost respect for that because you are sticking with the tradition, but, you're giving it your own spin while you are still maintaining that traditional, honky tonk vibe of it.
Yeah. I think not unique to us. I think a lot of the guys playing outlaw country and Americana today kind of have a punk background. I don't think that's unique whatsoever. But I came from a background. I was a guitar player in a touring punk band for years. That got away. Everybody got jobs. It faded away. But I wanted to take that kind of energy and fast pacedness to a honky tonk band. I have a real short attention span, so it's really hard for me to sit down and listen to a guy play an acoustic guitar and sing for 4 minutes. So I'm all about the guitar riffs, 2 minutes in and out. Let's have some fun, keep it upbeat, and I think we carry that over from that punk energy kind of to honky tonk.
And you are not wrong about so many of the guys that are in the outlaw and even the honky tonk and everything. They came up, doing punk. I mean, right. I've got friends that they play it, and they've even got metal backgrounds.
Absolutely,
these guys were like playing death metal and all kinds of metal all over the place and just heavy rock. I mean, I know a band out in Illinois right now. They've been on the show. They're called 3 Gun Whiskey. These guys are actually using drop D tuning to play country.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
We need to mess with.
You're really getting into the heavy side of things, which, like I was telling them, there is a place for that. Somebody needs to be able to, you're staying with that, respecting the tradition of that style of music, but you're giving it your own twist. And there's nothing wrong with giving it a heavier feel because, let's face it. Most of us grew up listening to, the harder stuff.
Right.
But I've always listened to just about anything and everything that I could get my hands on. But I was the lead singer for a metal band for years and years and years. So I get that. And that's, especially with that's what so well, it's really easy to kind of transpose that over into honky tonk or outlaw country because, really it's the same attitude.
Absolutely.
Same attitude with different instrumentation.
A lot of it translates over really well.
You can use.
Well, our newest lead guitar player that we brought on, his name is Holland Gilstrap. Me and him used to play in the same circles. Back in the day, we played Ground Zero a lot in Spartanburg. He was in a death metal grindcore band called the Terrigen Mist. This is 10 or so years ago. We used to play similar shows together, just kind of knew him in passing. Well, he saw me and David had been playing classic country in this band. He sent me a message on Instagram. He's like, dude, I didn't know you were into this. I was like, yeah, man, it's fun. He's like, oh, dude, I grew up on Buck Owens. I grew up on, Merle Haggard, Waylon. Would it be cool if I came and jammed with you sometime? I was like, yeah, sure. Well, this guy I'd only known for playing death metal and grindcore comes over and pulls out these riffs that sound just incredible. It sounds like Waylon, sounds like Buck Owens. So that's kind of what we've been doing here lately. Me and him have been trading guitar licks back and forth. He'll send me something. I'll go in, GarageBand or Logic, add some layers to it, send it back to him. We go back and forth 4 or 5 times, and we've got a song ready to go for the studio. But it's amazing to to hear the background that a lot of people come from. But it seems very common that death metal, grindcore, punk, hardcore, all that is a common beginning place for a lot of people into alternative country.
Yeah, and there's room for everybody.
Absolutely.
I do have a question for you. How did you come up with the name of the band, the Golden Lancers?
Okay, David, I'll let you answer that one.
Well, it's kind of funny, man. We're both from Greer, and as he said, we were both in the same marching band together, and so. Growing up, my dad was a band director at Greer High. And
how long was he band director at Greer High?
Man, over 30 years. I'm not exactly sure. Probably 35 years, something like that. And that was the name of the band for a long time, was just the Greer High Golden Lancers. And I don't know, man. I was thinking of something. It's kind of hard, at this point to think of any name that hasn't been taken that's cool. You could – if you just sat down and came up with 5 band names and you go on Spotify, you can probably find somebody that's using that name, so – it was cool because at some point, I guess I just thought of that. I think I saw a shirt or something and just was like, man, I bet nobody uses that. And I'm pretty sure there might be like one high school band somewhere that I don't know, but from what I've looked up, it was it was just an original name, and I think it's pretty cool, and it kind of pays a little homage to our background and everything. So
yeah, so me, David, our drummer Sam Studley, and our bass player Ian Guthrie, we were all in the same marching band together in high school. And then going back thinking, when me and David were thinking about names to go by, I kind of thought about the name Golden Lancers. I was like, nah, David probably won't want to do that. He won't be down for it. Then he comes to me a couple weeks later. He's like, dude, what if we went by the Golden Lancers? I was like, yes, please, let's do that. That would be fun.
Okay, I have to ask, as my middle son was a marching band kid all through high school, from junior high through high school, and, played in college and still playing in college. What did you guys play in marching band?
So I was actually a trombone player for a long time. And towards the end of time, I ended up getting out of it, kind of rebelled against it's kind of funny. A lot of times you hear the story about the dad who wants their son to play football so bad, but they want to go their own way. But my dad really wanted me to be in band. And I did it for a while. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, at some point I decided I wanted to go play football, so I did that. But, I've grown so I played trombone, but I also grew up playing piano, and I grew up playing guitar for as long as I could remember, middle school, I guess, or something like that. But what'd you play, Randall?
Yeah, so me, who's Randall, the bass player Ian, and the drummer Sam, we were all on the drum line together. We all three of us played percussion.
And it's been really cool to see, because it's like, especially as if you just want to talk about music education or whatever, all these guys have used the stuff they've learned, and they're still using it today. And it's been pretty cool to watch everybody bring a lot of that knowledge together. And, you're sitting there learning sheet music and stuff when you're 13 years old and you're hating it. But then it's funny when we sit down and we end up using that kind of stuff because we're, trying to lay the stuff out and everything. So it's been pretty cool to see. Actually, one of the guys that played, our drummer Sam, is a band director right now. And he's been doing it for a few years, and it's pretty cool to watch that,
Yeah.
And see, and I appreciate that, because, kids these days don't understand, unless they've had like the band atmosphere or, a chorus choir kind of thing, that musical training, if you're going to stay in music, you're going to utilize that in a lot of different aspects. And it's going to make it easier for you in the long run. Especially when you're trying to write your own stuff and everything. Because I know my son has come back. He's a sax player. He's like, I can, I say a piece of music now, and he goes, I'll transpose it over to a piano. I was playing on a saxophone, because once you realize where the notes are, you're still playing note for note. And, percussion, I know you guys are a different beast altogether.
Well, it's been cool because Randall, he's definitely a drummer, and he grew up as a drummer and stuff, but he's learned, he's played, like he said earlier, he's played pretty much every instrument we have right now. And so I'm sure he would tell you that, learning all these different instruments has been a lot easier just from the music training he got and everything. I think it's made us really versatile, because we can play, if we had to, we can play as a three-piece. We can play up to as much as 6 guys or whatever, but it's nice because he can play steel, which is our favorite thing to do, is when he's playing steel, because we really like that sound. But then, if we need to, we can play as a 4-piece and he'll play bass, or, different things like that. So it has been cool.
Yeah, it does make us a lot more versatile, because most everybody in our band, we can switch places, rotate. Like if we get asked to play a show last minute, which, man, I miss those days, but we get asked to play a show last minute, we can make it happen, because most of the people in our band are very musical and can just plug in and play wherever they need to be.
And seeing that's great that you can do that, because that gives you guys a whole nother level of musicianship that sets you kind of above, the basic that a lot of guys, I'm going to go out and I'm going to learn guitar.
Right.
I might do a little bit of bass, but you guys that can kind of jump in, fill in, play what you need to play to be able to suit whatever, say that specific gig gives you or requires, means that you guys get to keep working when a lot of guys are not going to be able to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We definitely miss those days of playing shows. We haven't played anything in person, since COVID started in March or so. And some of that's been by choice. We've definitely had opportunities, but I don't think we want to all play and get back together until we've had time to get together as a band and rehearse. because if we want to play, we want it to sound great. But two, I'm not sure if we're ready to necessarily be in a tiny honky tonk bar, packed full of people quite yet ourselves. So it's been interesting. We've been offered a few shows to play, and it's a very painful no sometimes yet, because again, I don't think we're quite ready personally, but we are ready to be ready.
And I get that. I know a lot of musicians that they're taking anything they can get right now despite things, and I'm like, you got small kids at home.
Yeah,
you really want to put them at risk just so. But if that's your only source of income, God love you, do what you got to do.
That's right.
It's tough because you got some people who we're both fortunate where we're not living off our day to day off our music paycheck, and I'm like in this time that's been a good thing. But I have some good friends who have put all their eggs in the basket of being a professional musician, and they're really good at it, and they built a lot into it. And all of a sudden it was pulled out from under them. And I really feel for those guys. And like you said, it's like, I don't know, because, if I put myself in their situation, they have small kids and everything, and it's like, what do you do? Because you have to make your money. And, some of them have been fortunate enough to find other ways to, make income and everything. But I'm with you because it's just tough right now because, either way you do it, you're going to be wrong in somebody's eyes. And, it's, like you said, man, we're dying to get back out there, but we just want to make sure it's the right time. And I don't fault my friends that have done it because I know that a lot of them are doing it. A lot of them are playing outside shows and doing everything they can to make it work, And I think that's probably something we're going to look into whenever, hopefully pretty soon here, but whenever we feel pretty comfortable. I think that's going to be a nice way to bring it back in or whatever. But at the same time, some of the places that have been really good to us, like the Radio Room, they were starting to come back and they were doing everything they could to follow regulations and all, but it's just tough right now. I don't know.
We got Paul Coffin coming next month.
Yeah, so, they actually canceled that
again.
Yeah, they canceled it this week. I was bummed about it. I was going to risk it to go out of the house to go to it, but they decided to call that one off, unfortunately.
And it sucks because they're one of the people who have given us opportunity to play and everything, which we've really been appreciative towards them. And I've kind of been following their story, and they've done everything they can, but sometimes you do everything that you think you can right, and it's out of your control. So it's just tough right now.
Wes does a hell of a job out there.
Definitely.
Wes is awesome.
And he's a musician himself, so he knows what it means to not being able to get to play. And I've been wanting live music so bad I can't stand it. We went from I was seeing live music 4 nights a week.
That's right.
To see things for the show and everything, checking out everybody I could get out to see, whether they were a big act or a small act. I've seen one little small show, and there was about 8 people there since all this has happened, and I only went because it's a really good friend of mine, and he thought that I hadn't seen him in a while, and I just showed up to surprise him.
Yeah.
And he didn't see me walk in, so I just walked up and stood in front of him, and he literally stops in the middle of his set and goes, "What the hell?" The only reason was because I knew, it would mean enough to him to go do that. And we all need that kind of friend that just shows.
That's right.
No matter.
A good buddy of mine is Justin Clyde Williams. I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar with each other.
Oh yeah, very, very familiar with each other.
He was actually playing a show about 3 blocks from my house. One of the first shows he played back on, and I wanted to go so bad. And I was talking to him about
Jenny.
That one. And I was playing on it, but I just at the end, I just decided. Honestly, I knew that he would have a good crowd, anyways. It was one of those things where it's like.
Well, and you had Dirty Great Soul too, and
that's combination
that's going to pack the place.
Absolutely. I actually went and saw that. They played there, I guess, was it January or something like that, or December maybe? That was an awesome show, man. They're both incredible. Really look up to those guys. But, yeah, man, it's tough right now.
Our bass player, Ian, he's been affected a good bit. he normally tours and plays out with his brother, who's Noah. Noah Guthrie is his brother. And they were touring with Dwight Yoakam. He was opening up for Willie Nelson. I mean, they had a packed summer. They had a bunch of festivals they were playing this summer. And all that got canceled. You know, they literally didn't have maybe a free weekend or a free week, much less the whole summer. And then, you know, all that came to a screeching halt. Everything got canceled. And that's how he pays his mortgage, is of being a touring musician. So he's had to adapt some. He's focused more on recording. Thankfully, he's got, you know, studio skills where he can sit down and record people, be an audio engineer. He works at Studio 101 in Greer. I know he's done some work with, you know, Piedmont Boys and everything since all this has started. So thankfully he was able to shift gears and find an alternative source of income where, you know, he's normally 100% touring. That's where he makes his living.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rough on everybody, but no, let's go to something a little more positive.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we're all getting bummed out by.
No, let's keep going. I'll tell you what sucks. No,
you know, I don't feel like being a risk cutter tonight. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Who were your influences? I mean, I know you guys say you have a punk background and everything, but even, you know, in that genre as well as, you know, the outlaw and honky tonk, who were some of you guys' influences coming up?
Man, I'll tell you, I grew up listening to classic country just like most guys did around this area. I'd kind of written country music off for a while because anything newer I had heard for a while just didn't interest me. Of course, you know, the bro country, the pop country, all that. Just can't stand it. It wasn't for me. And what brought me back into it was definitely Sturgill. I heard some of his first record, You Can Have the Crown, things like that. And I was like, man, this is country and it doesn't suck at all. And it's new, which is bizarre. I didn't know this was still going on. So, you know, start listening to Sturgill and getting a Turnpike, things like that. And of course, a lot of the newer guys that are killing it, Tyler Childers and everything, really revived my interest. So then it inspired me to start digging back deeper into, you know, a lot of the Graham Parsons, some of the older type folky-ish type country. Of course, Merle Haggard, Waylon. I could name 1,000 people that everybody would say yes, of course. But it was interesting because the newer guys spurred me to go back and really dig into the older guys again that I heard for years and really start studying them and learning why they were great and why I liked them so much.
Yeah,
I love it.
Pretty similar. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'm pretty similar in the way that I've always listened to classic country a lot growing up. My grandpa was known for just sitting around playing his guitar and playing some old Hank Sr. So that's always been one of my favorite artists. And listening to his old records and stuff, I liked a lot of, you know, Merle Haggard, Waylon, like he was saying. And I guess at some point I kind of wrote it off as far as ever wanting to make my own original country music because I kind of saw what was on the radio and was listening and just knew that's not what I wanted to do. And I hate to say that I felt like that was the only way to do it at that point. But, you know, like he said, a lot of the guys, like especially Cody Jinks, I started listening to him a lot. And Tyler Childers for sure. And those guys kind of really made me realize that you can do it these days and people will listen to it. As long as you just have to do it through a different medium a lot of the times. It's not going to be the days where you go inside a record contract for whoever and, you know, go out there and make an awesome classic country record. Well, it isn't right now. It seems to be that it's getting more that way with some of these guys that are breaking that ground. But, you know, I'd always listen to Red Dirt too. And I'm glad that was going on because that was something that made it kind of bridge the gap for me because I was able to listen to somebody that was making original music that was that had its own kind of flair and still sounded, you know, not necessarily classic country, but good lyrical content, good just original music and stuff. And so it's cool to, if you listen to some of our music, I think you'll hear a lot of, you know, Buck Owens sound and stuff all the way up to almost, you know, Jamie Johnson type sound. So it's kind of spans the spectrum. And that's kind of what we, I think you can see our influences in our music, hopefully, because that's kind of where we got where we are, I guess, as far as what we put out lately. So.
Well, Randall, I love the fact that you brought up Turnpike. That's like one of my favorite bands. And, you know, who doesn't love Childers? That was the last show I saw before quarantine hit.
Same here, man.
if that's going to be the last show you get to see, but it was him and Sturgill. So
yeah.
you really can't go wrong.
That's a bucket list show right there.
Now, Dave, who were you brought up Red Dirt? Who were some of the Red Dirt guys you were into?
Turnpike, absolutely. One of my favorite guys, though, that I've kind of followed around a lot and really inspired me was Jason Eady. He just for whatever reason, he just resonates with me, the way he writes music, and the way that he keeps that. I hate to just peg it as classic country because it's just really good original music, but I've really loved him. And Jason Boland is another guy that I was huge on. I actually saw him in Greenville at the Handlebar one time, and it was just the most random show, but it was awesome that he came through. And, Reckless Kelly used to be a band that I would really kind of dug deep into their discography, I guess you'd say, at one point, because they had just so much music that had been released, and all of it was good. So, yeah, how about you, man? What are your favorite Red Dirt bands?
Love Mickey and the Motor Cars.
Oh, yeah.
Their guitar player and steel player, Pablo, is a really good buddy of mine. He's been on the show here. Cool. I love some Jason Boland. Shane Smith and the Saints. Love those guys. They're, such original. But Chris Knight, you can't get much more original, and he's outlaw, but he's kind of everything all combined into one, and just such a dynamic singer and songwriter. There's so many out there.
Another band I'd say has influenced at least me, and I think Randall would say a little bit him too, but a band that we really just dig their sound right now is Mike and the Moon Pies. I guess they're Red Dirt, but they're that honky tonk, and they're one of those bands that they have the instrumentation and they have the songwriting. They have it all put together, and so I guess you'd call them Red Dirt. I don't know.
Technically, I guess they are Red Dirt just because based out of the location. Yeah. But any of those Braun brothers that are like with Reckless and everything, those guys are just incredible and just killing it. Co Wetzel is another damn good one. Good. I won't speak Morgan Whalen's name just because he's not visible. I was a guest on a podcast last night, and that was one of the things. And he was like, "Well, what do you feel about?" Because he knows my musical background, because the guy and I've been friends for a long time. And he goes, "All right." He goes, "What do you think about people thinking Morgan wrote that song?" And I'm like, "Man, get the hell out of here." And he goes, "Well, how do you feel about Isbell being so political?" I'm like, when you reach his level, you can say whatever you want.
That's right.
You're not going to torpedo your career.
True.
If you're out here depending on playing in, a bar anywhere around here, you really need to keep your opinions to yourself, because you're going to get shut down, locked out, and blackballed from playing anywhere.
That's right.
So when you reach Jason Isbell's status, you can say whatever you want whenever you want.
That's right.
I'm sure you saw this, but I thought it was hilarious that he said somebody asked Jason Isbell, they said, "How do you feel about everybody thinking Morgan Wallen wrote that song?" And he said, "It doesn't bother me as long as the guys who write the check knows who wrote that song."
That's right.
Exactly.
It is funny,
you guys, I know you guys, we're going to actually be debuting a new song for you guys right here on this show.
Yeah, we're very excited about it.
And I've listened to it. It's a bad mamma jamma of a song.
Thank you.
I loved it. I love the sound. Why don't you guys kind of give us a little background to that, and also into your songwriting process?
Yeah.
Who does what?
That particular song started with our guitar player Holland recording just a guitar riff, the riff that we wound up using as the opening to that song on his iPhone, sending it to me. I sat down with an acoustic guitar and put some chords behind it. Again, it was one of those things where we sent it back and forth 4 or 5 times until we had the musical structure of the song. And we were happy with that. And then it's always easier for me to get the musical structure done first and then sit down and start working on the lyrics of that one. I actually wrote the lyrics to that song in particular. And what's funny is it's it's kind of a different place we were in right there. But that song was actually, I wrote it out of the frustration of playing bar shows. which again, we'd love to be playing bar shows right now, so I shouldn't have taken it for granted. But the song, if you listen to it, the lyrics are talking about wanting to go places, wanting to play out, wanting to see things you haven't seen before, but finding yourself in the same circle of playing around the same places, singing the same songs to the same people, and never really making progress. And then a key point of that song actually comes from when we were playing a show one time. And keep in mind, we generally play classic country, 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe some 90s, and then we'll play some Sturgill and stuff like that. But in the middle of a song while we were playing, a lady came up and asked us to play a Creed with Arms Wide Open. And I just thought it was hilarious. This is obviously not what we're doing. This is not our style. Of course, we're not going to play a Creed song. So in this song that we're debuting today, we actually reference a Thank You Ma'am, but we don't play no Creed. And then, Thank You Ma'am, we don't know that song. Thank You Ma'am, we don't play for free. Thank You Ma'am, we don't know no Creed. It's all just kind of reference to going back and just playing bar shows. And that's where the inspiration of the song came from.
See things I ain't seen yet. Every night I sit here and stare at the wall. I'm going where I don't want to go, saying yes when I want to say no, and you're looking at the only one to blame. And it's a 1, 4, 5, every song, every night, playing for dimes, sleeping in a car. It's me and the boys making background noise, saying thank you, man, but we don't know that song.
I love it. And, I think everybody's that listens to this is going to love this too. You bring up something, with you talking about how, the lyrics for this song and everything, you really bring up something that I've discussed with a lot of musicians all over about this. Would you rather play a bar or a listening room? Because I know so many people, Justin Clyde and I have had this discussion. He is overplaying bars or what, before all this happened, everybody was trying to get more into the listening rooms because you've got people getting drunk that are getting louder and louder. They're not paying attention to the music. That's not, if you're going to pay, don't pay $10 to get into a show and then ruin the show for everybody else that paid their $10, the ones that actually came to hear said musician or band. That's something.
It's funny because I think that our music. So I love to go to a good listening room show. Actually, I was talking about Jason Eady earlier, and I saw him at the Evening Muse in Charlotte, and that was one of the coolest shows I've ever been to. Just because it was like maybe 50 people that were only there to listen to him. That, you know, I mean, they served drinks and everything, but nobody was falling over, nobody was screaming. It was just awesome. But at the same time, I think that if there was going to be a bar band, that our music definitely lends itself to playing in bars because it's kind of upbeat and rowdy and fun. And it's tough because I don't know what Randall will say about this, to be honest with you, but it's funny because I definitely love playing at a good bar, but some of our favorite, I brought up the Radio Room earlier, and honestly really love playing there because it's kind of got like a punk venue feel to it, and you have a set, you come in. And to us, honestly, we really love playing like that. But at the same time, when I started doing the music thing, it was in going to just random little bars and random little honky tonks and just playing to nobody and playing with my buddies or whatever, just whoever wanted to listen. And so I do kind of enjoy that, especially now that we're getting a good sound of our own. I kind of like going into a bar and, you know, pulling people's attention towards us in a way.
So I'll preface my answer by saying anytime you're playing music for people in a live setting and they're enjoying it and you're having fun, you can't lose. I mean, that's just a win-win situation. And if we start, you know, picking, saying, I want to play this, I want to play this, I don't want to play that, you know, you're picking and choosing. And especially looking back now from what we've gone through over the past 4 months, it all seems kind of petty. That being said, I don't like playing in bars. I like playing in listening rooms for sure, because I'd rather play, you know, 30 to 45 minutes of original material that we feel like is ours, that we've really honed, that we feel like people can appreciate, than 4 or 5 hours of just, hey, what haven't we played? What requests do we get? So, I mean, it's still fun. Anytime you're playing music live is fun, but I like being able to play more original stuff, which a listening room type venue is definitely more receptive to.
Here's where it kind of sucks for us that he brought up playing our original music. We had just kind of hit a groove as far as we had been working on a lot of stuff, and we finally hit our groove, and I'd say got a full album together. So I really would have liked to seen what we would have done with our original stuff. I mean, granted, we're going to have the time and whenever it happens here soon, but it just sucks. It was like it happened to everybody, but we kind of got hit. We got screeched, you know, we hit a screeching halt, I should say, but you know, I can see where he's coming from there. It's definitely kind of monotonous when you get out there and you're trying to scrape up something to play. And no, I know what you mean.
And then with our lovely governor, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you, the last show you went to, were there a bunch of rowdy college age kids at your show?
Of course.
Or was it, you know, middle-aged folks that are coming out to appreciate the music because that's what they grew up on and they love?
Exactly.
You know,
the last show we played was the Pickens Pool Room, right?
Yep.
It was great. It was a bar in Pickens. We played a guy who's celebrating his birthday. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we were probably some of the youngest people there who were playing the music. A guy showed up with clogs. He clogged for us while he was playing. They appreciated the music. They had a hell of a time. We had a hell of a time. We left there saying, man, we need to come back. That was so much fun.
Righteous. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So where do you guys see you guys moving? What's your direction from here? Once you can get back out and play again, you know, what's kind of the direction you guys are wanting to go?
So I think what we're really wanting to do is, again, we'll take anything we can get once it, you know, safe to go back out and play. But we're going to have we have about 8 songs we're ready to record right now, release. Once we get that on the internet, we can really push this album that we're working on. I'm hoping that will lend us to getting more opening spots for some regional acts and some touring acts, things where we can come out, you know, play 30, 45 minutes, say, bam, 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 here's our originals. If you liked it, check us out online, and play more regional shows outside of the state, you know. I think that's where we want to go. I could be speaking ill. I could be speaking wrong, but I think you're on the same page, David.
I mean, we definitely want to keep playing around here as much as we can, too, as far as our local bars. And I think we'll do that for a long time. But that would be if somebody said, hey, you can do whatever you want right now, and, you know, just pick it. That's what we would pick for sure. There's a few places around here that we're looking forward to going back into, you know, as far as just like local spots where we can play some good music for people we know and everything around here. But We definitely would. Yeah, sorry.
No, sorry to interrupt. Since we have a lot of local listenership too, are you guys opposed to playing a house show?
Absolutely not.
That'd be awesome.
We've done a couple things. I guess you could call it a house show. We've had some experiences. And,
we wound up playing what turned into essentially a child's birthday party.
It was fun, man. It kind of felt like I should have looked it up before I came on here, but then there's a movie where it totally felt like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
David almost put the brakes on the show when the kids were playing basketball in front of us, and one of their basketballs hit, my $5,000 pedal steel guitar. That was almost when we stopped and just kind of evaluated the choices we had made that led us to that point.
But all that being said, we would 100% be.
Yes, we would love to play a house show.
I mean, that'd be a great environment for us, especially because we definitely feed off people that are enjoying what we're playing. Sometimes you have those hit or miss nights where you get whatever the gig is, and for whatever reason, the people there just aren't. They weren't expecting that kind of music, or it's not the right fit. But I feel like with a house show, you pretty much get what you're expecting a lot of times. I don't think many people bring you in and just, oh crap, who are these guys? Usually they bring you in and it's going to be a good time. So we'd be all for that. Absolutely.
That's good to know. I know some bigger acts that are going to be coming down this way, doing a few like house shows. They're always looking for local guys to back them up or to open up for them. And I will definitely throw your name out there and they're Honky Tonk and Outlaw. So you guys would fit right in together quite well.
Have their people call our people. We don't have people. We're the people.
A couple of them don't have people either. It's just them. All right. I've got these bare bones questions I throw at everybody that comes on the show.
Cool.
So you both can answer separately since we've got two of you here, and you can choose who answers first. What band are each of you really into right now that you're just digging?
David, you go ahead.
That's tough. Let me think. Man, well, honestly, if I just right to the top of my head, I would say Mike and the Moon Pies. And I've already mentioned them earlier, but I'm really digging what they're doing. I mean, and I feel like there's a lot of obvious answers that more people would already be listening to, but if I could get somebody who wanted to hear a good Honky Tonk band right now and hear it being done in 2020, I'd say listen to those guys because they kill it. And they just really intrigue me right now. And, yeah, that'd be my answer.
So mine's going to be a little bit different, and it's more of, an artist than it is a band. I've been getting really into Charles Bradley and kind of his soul and Motown revival sound. Yet, of course, he died here recently, but man, it's very good, soulful, sad music. But man, I've just been having him on repeat for 2 or 3 weeks in a row now.
That guy's voice was incredible, though.
He made amazing.
For sure. Okay, all-time favorite book.
Oh man. Okay, I'll go first on that one. If you want a book that is I feel like it gets you by the toenails and drags you through asphalt the entire way. It's Stephen King's Misery. I know everybody's seen the movie. Of course, it's a very famous movie, but his book, I think once every 3 or 4 years, I just go ahead and put myself through reading that book. But I love it. I'm a big fan of horror stuff, and that's by far my favorite book to go to.
Right on. So you're a Rob Zombie film fan?
Oh yeah, love it.
Man, I have an extremely juvenile answer, but if you want to ask my favorite book of all time, the book that I remember picking up and I didn't literally put it down until the time I finished it was the book Holes. I don't know if you are familiar with that at all. It was when I was like 12 years old, and I've read a lot of books since then. But it's funny when you ask that because it's even to today, like when somebody's your favorite book, that pops in my head. It's funny. I wasn't expecting that question either. So
you asked about books. That's one of like 15 cases, and that's like 5 feet tall.
Nice, there you go. That's awesome.
So, my wife's an English professor, so we read in this house. Okay, your second question or your third question: pulled pork or brisket? sauced or dry rub?
Give me brisket dry rub, 100%. Easy.
Man, that's such a tough question for me. So being from Greer in the upstate of South Carolina, I feel like my answer should be pulled pork and sauced. I just feel like that is growing up around here. That's how people did it. But the more I eat, go around and eat, I really do dig some brisket. But it's so hard for me to go away from pulled pork, man. Golly, that's a good question.
I didn't know you were going to be asking the hard hitters.
I'm going to say pulled pork and sauce just to go against what he says. But I will say that Lewis Barbecue down in Charleston has some incredible brisket that is a guy from Texas making it. If you ever heard of that place?
Oh yeah, and some of the best burn ends around.
Oh, absolutely, man.
And see, you can't get burn ends up here, which is a damn travesty.
Creekside Barbecue in Anderson, they'll do burn ends every now and again when they have them, but it's very hard to come by around here.
There's actually a buddy of mine who started.
You don't got to start on barbecue.
With his name's Dylan Cook, and I wish I had his Instagram account memorized right now. But
he's Fort Grove, isn't it?
Fort Grove Barbecue is what he's going by. But he played. He hasn't actually played with us as a band. I've played a show with him a couple of times, and he used to play with a bunch of my friends and everything. And awesome guitar player, but he's gotten into doing it, and he does a kind of a private order thing. So if anybody's into old country music and likes barbecue, he'd be a good guy to look up. It's Fort Grove Barbecue on Instagram.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the first record and or CD you guys bought for yourself or picked out for yourself?
Oh no.
I'm gonna say, and I can remember. I'm gonna say this because I have a story with it. I may have bought another CD at some point, but I remember specifically our school would go to Washington in 8th grade every year, and they would take us to a mall for like a day, and me and my buddies just went walking around and ended up at I guess it was a CD store back then, but I remember I made a point of buying Leonard Skinner's Second Helping because I had my money with me, and I love that CD, so I went in there. And I still love that CD to this day, but that's the first one I remember buying. What's yours?
He's gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you something cool. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. Mine was Ricky Martin, "Livin' La Vida Loca" on cassette.
Nice.
That was I remember seeing it at Kmart and just begging my mom, and I didn't have enough money for the CD, but I had enough money for the cassette, and so I bought the cassette, and the rest is history. Here we are.
And you guys are really going to love. I've got another question. I've got another question for you guys here in a few questions that you're really going to love them. Okay, what was your first concert that each of you went to?
That's hilarious. Mine is very embarrassing. And so the only reason this wasn't my answer earlier is because I didn't buy this CD. My brother was 2 years older, and he would get most of the stuff. And it was actually the band Hanson. Yeah, we went to I was about 5 years old, and so I didn't know any better, and I love their music. And my mom piled us. Yeah, exactly. But the funniest, I remember to this day, my mom piled us up in our car. Me and it was two families, other kids, two moms. We rode up to Charlotte, and we get there, and they came on stage, and literally all you could hear was just girls just like the Beatles or something on the stage. It was just, you couldn't hear any music.
That's why the Beatles quit playing.
They quit playing. And I remember one of the kids that was with us was probably about my age, and I just looked over, and he was literally passed out on the bench, just asleep. And it was funny. That's and it's funny because, man, a concert experience now, like, just when you go to this, I don't know. It's just funny that at that time I thought that was the ultimate. Like,
that was a rock show.
That was a rock show. Like,
we're going to lose so many honky tonk points and outlaw points.
Yeah, we are big time
and all that. But we're answering honestly. Right. So
no, I appreciate the honesty, and I'll tell you my first one, and I got you both beat. So
right.
Unless Randall, you come up with a doozy for yours, I'm probably
mine's not that exciting. No, go ahead.
Who was it?
Like most boys that grew up in Greer, South Carolina, my first concert was DC Talk.
I did see DC Talk really early on. I think it was after Hanson. I definitely saw them.
My first show my parents took me to was the Village People.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Yeah, you win on that one.
Okay, Star Wars or Star Trek?
I'll definitely go with Star Wars. I'm not huge into both of them, but from all I've seen, I haven't watched a ton of Star Trek. I do enjoy Star Wars a good bit. Yeah, that'd be my answer.
Just because of the mass, there's so much Star Trek out there. Star Trek for me, in particular, The Next Generation.
Fair enough. All right, this is going to be the question. It's a two-part that you're going to really love. What is your go-to jam song? Doesn't matter if you've listened to this thing 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. You're going to roll the windows down, that volume's going up, and you're just going to ride around singing at the top of your lungs like you're the biggest badass on the block here during this song. What is it? Then, on the converse of that, what is your guilty pleasure song? It's embarrassing that you love this song as much as you do, or this particular artist. So, it's over to you, gentlemen.
I feel like mine might be one of the same. Mine is definitely Shaka Khan, Ain't Nobody. That is the top of the top jam song for me, and it is a guilty pleasure for me. I love it.
Okay.
God, that's a good question. Let me think when I just jam out these days.
He doesn't really like music.
Yeah, no, music guy. Let's see, man. That's a good question. God, and the guilty pleasure thing is tough because I feel like I have a lot that would probably qualify for that. Man, this is going to be lame because it does fall right in with Outlaw Country, but I would say that I'm listening to a lot of old Sturgill right now. Like when I turn my windows down and jam, it's like Long White Line and stuff like that. For whatever reason, that's just been what I've been playing lately.
He's trying to get us back some
I'm
some
trying
points.
to get some points back.
Trying to get some street cred.
Yeah.
Man, but as far as guilty pleasure, there's a bunch of I like a lot of music that doesn't fall in line with honky tonk stuff, and I guess anyways.
Hey, I'll throw mine out there too.
Let's hear it.
I love Britney Spears.
Okay. Yeah, I got you, man.
And honestly, this is the one that embarrasses me the most to admit this one. But when you consider the guy's background and just musicianship, I'm kind of digging Post Malone now.
Oh yeah, man. He's very intriguing. I don't know what it is about him that everybody in the world seems to love him. I mean, he's a very talented dude. I can see that. I've seen some videos of him and stuff. But
I think I saw him walking down White Horse Road.
You may have.
Probably so.
It looked like him over there.
But, he came from a country background. He's got Hank Williams Jr. tattooed on his hand. So, I mean, I respect that aspect, but as a musician, and then when he did that whole Nirvana thing.
He can actually sing.
He can. And he can play guitar, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy can play a lot of instruments. I give him respect for that. Am I going to go running out and downloading all of his discography? Nah. But I can show respect where respect is due. Okay. Person, living or dead, you would love to take the stage with one time.
I mean, that's a tough question because I want to say Hank Sr., but I really don't think I'd be able to fall in with him, man. He kind of steals the stage. He does his own thing. I tell you, I really would love to do it with Merle Haggard, I think, because it'd be awesome to sit there. He can jam on the telly. He can sing. I think we sing in a lot of similar keys. Actually, never have thought about that, but that'd be a good time, man. Get up there and jam with Merle Haggard.
Oh, yeah.
Man, my answer, again, I'm going to get back to the soul type stuff, but I've been going back and watching a lot of James Brown live shows here lately, and I didn't realize just how much of a shit show his live shows were. I mean, it was anything goes. What are we going to do? Yeah, let's go back and do that again. Play this drum solo for 30 minutes, even though it's the same thing over and over and over while, James Brown has a conniption in front of everybody. I would just like to be on stage and be a part of that. Right. That would just be a blast.
The energy yes. You'd be feeding off of would be ridiculous.
I mean, he says maybe 10 words, the whole show, but it's madness the whole time he's up there. That would be cool to be a part of.
Okay. Do you guys have a personal or life mantra?
Personal or
I should probably get one. I don't think I do. Don't tell me I don't want that probably. What's your Randall? I will say that I've always thought, to try to be genuine in everything you do. And I think especially when it comes to music is not to go out and do what you think is going to sell records or what you think that, you know, certain people want to hear. And it's crazy the lengths some people will go to try to get their music heard and their music in with the right people. And, you know, for us, I don't think that's going to involve changing our style at all ever. I think, you know, we might change the medium that we're doing it, or maybe one day the amount of money that goes into it. But I think we're always going to try to stay genuine to what we've liked forever. And I know that's kind of cheesy and that everybody says that in outlaw Americana country, but I do think it, you know, I think what Justin Clyde told me this one time, you know, we were just talking and I was like, man, I appreciate all you've done for me. Appreciate you, you know, kind of letting me get in with you. He said, man, you know, real recognizes real. If you keep if you keep playing that real music, people are going to see it and the right people are going to hear it. And you don't have to bend, you know, really anything. You know, you might end up playing to nobody, but I'd rather do that than I would playing stuff I don't like or doing things I don't want to do just to have people listen, you know.
Wise words from the Justin Clyde Williams man.
That was, yeah.
For me, this is kind of a newer way of looking about, I guess, kind of you could say the political climate, you know, turmoil our country has gone through, the virus and everything. All this has been, you know, very interesting times for the country. But a coworker of mine about 6 months ago made a comment to me. He says, Randall, you're familiar with the golden rule? And I said, yeah, I know what the golden rule is. He says, well, what is it? It's treat others how you want to be treated. Yeah, I said, okay. He said, that's not good enough. And I said, well, what do you mean that's not good enough? He said, you need to go to call it the next level, call it the platinum rule, call it whatever, diamond rule, whatever you want to call it. But we need to start learning to treat other people how they want to be treated. Because not everybody has the same viewpoint and background in life that you have. And so that's kind of a way I've been living a lot lately, is trying to maybe take a step back and say, okay, you know, not everybody's the same as me. Not everybody has the same values, background, history I have. Maybe I need to change my lens, change my scope in general. So, yeah.
I like that. It kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, just don't be a dick.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, sums it up pretty good.
I mean, you know, but no, I do like that. I mean, I really like that. So it's a different perspective and way to look at things. Okay, besides yourselves, what's another band around here that you think people should be checking out and paying attention to?
And the best guitar player I know around here, he plays about 4 times a week in the upstate. If you live anywhere around the upstate, you need to check out my friend James Radford. He and his dad are incredible players. I'm sure you've seen him, right? Yeah, he's a man. A lot of them, I mean, we brought a lot of them up that I really love. Dirty Grass Soul is awesome. I'd say Piedmont Boys are actually, Greg Payne has always been great to me, and he gave me one of my first gigs we ever actually. Randall was playing. It's one of the first places we kind of played together, and I check out anything he's doing. And you know, there's a lot of good country around here that I didn't know about not too long ago because I didn't know where to look for it, and I'm glad that I've kind of come into it because there's so much just in this area. I used to, you know, look at Texas and I would look at Oklahoma or whatever, or, you know, there's a lot of places that are Kentucky or the hot spots right now, but we have a ton right here in North and South Carolina. Tyler Hadley's another guy who's he just put out a single I saw. He's been doing a lot, and he's kind of on both in North and South Carolina side, I think.
That dude is incredible.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's awesome.
I'm friends with all these guys you're talking about.
So I'm not telling you anything.
You know, you and I are going to be, you know, we need to be friends because we've been in the same circles for a long time.
Absolutely, man.
Okay. I got one last question to throw at you guys, and then we can do some shout outs. If you had a spirit animal, what would it be?
That's a good question.
Oh, spirit animal.
So is that – all right, I've never quite understood this. Is that supposed to be an animal, or is it – because I'll hear – what I remember is years ago people being like, Taylor Swift is my spirit animal.
She's not an
animal.
It's supposed to be an animal, yeah.
So it is supposed to be an animal?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an animal. Well, I mean, Taylor Swift looks like she's got a mouth for a bit.
True. Maybe I was about to get example.
All right. So my spirit animal, just because I think they just hang out in like warm water and chill all day and just kind of hang out on the beach and have fun, eat all day, which is kind of what I like to do. It sounds fun. As a manatee. Sign me up for that life.
Nice.
Like it.
Nice. Man, that's a good question. I'd like to say something really cool, like a lion or something like that, but it'd probably be more along the lines of, if I'm being completely honest, probably like a donkey, because I can be kind of stubborn and I can, I don't like people telling me what to do, but I'll do it eventually. If somebody doesn't tell me, that kind of thing. So maybe that'd follow along, unfortunately, if I'm being completely honest.
That is completely fair. You guys have been some of the most honest and genuine people I've had. And I love that and appreciate that so much.
Street cred out the window. If we ever had any to begin with, I don't think we ever really had any. So.
Is there any shout outs you guys want to throw out there to anybody or anything? Or
well, I mean, anybody that's listening because of us, we definitely appreciate that. Anybody that's kind of been following our story and what we've been doing, we've definitely got some great support from our family and a lot of our friends around the area, and we appreciate that. Anybody that's been following us on Spotify or our Instagram or whatever, a lot of people that I didn't expect to keep up with have been keeping up with and stuff. So I definitely appreciate that. And I'd say I've mentioned most of the people who've helped me out, but a lot of the people around the area really have been good to me as I've been trying to get into it and everything, and they've all been helpful. Anna Lee from the Anna Lee Band has been awesome to me. She has always been somebody right there that's been, as far as helping me get gigs or just helping me meet people. She's introduced me to so many people in the area. And then
and she's a buddy, everybody.
Yeah, definitely. A good buddy, Joel Green, and the band Remedy 58. I want to say he's been on here. I know you've met him for sure. He's been such a good friend to me because he actually was in the Golden Lancers as well. And so growing up, he knew me when I was born or whatever. He used to hold me when I was a baby. I'm pretty sure he says so. He's been a good help to me and give me great advice. And it's always nice to have somebody that you can go to help you navigate things, because there's definitely not a playbook for trying to get around the music scene. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But you're in them.
We got to give a shout out to Tyler, man.
Absolutely.
Man, if anybody is out there just wanting for some good entertainment, watch a guy who's just an incredible musician, go on Facebook, search Tyler Steele Mansfield. He actually played with us one day. He came and sat in on a gig with us. He showed up late. I met him as he was setting up to play with us. We just told him what key the song was in, and he just blew it out of the water. He's an incredible musician. He plays banjo, guitar, piano, pedal steel. You got to check out Tyler.
He's a great musician and a character as well.
So he is entertaining. Check him out online.
Yeah, man.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. And it has been an absolute blast hanging out with you guys for the last little bit, talking and, helping everybody to know who you guys are as a person, as people, and as a band and everything. So, I appreciate that. And, I'm looking forward to hearing more stuff, hopefully to be able to see you guys live sometimes in the not distant future. So
find us a basement to play in.
Right. There you go. Hey, throw your socials out there so that people can come follow you and check you out. I know you said Spotify. You guys on Facebook. I know you're on Instagram because I followed you on there.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram is pretty much what we do. The Golden Lancers. Nothing hard about it.
Right on. Guys, thank you so much. Folks listening, man, I appreciate you. This is my debut, brand new, getting back into the world of this show and all the madness that comes along with it. And thanks for everybody that stayed listening and keeps on listening, and all the support and positive affirmation that you guys have been giving all the musicians that are out here that have been struggling, and myself, doing this show. So thanks, guys, and we will catch you next week.
Thank you.
In spite of all the danger, in spite of all that may be, I'll do anything for you, anything you want me to, if you'll be true to me. In spite of all the heartaches that you made for me, I'll do anything for you, anything you want me to, you'll be true to me. I'll look after you like I've never done at your door, in spite of all